Welcome back to Football Tragics. Three of us today, myself, Aaron, Tony, and Morty. We have no Campo here today. Don't know why he's not here. I mean, Spurs. Tony, can you firstly answer
a common trend?
Yeah.
It's becoming a common trend that whenever you or Campo lose, we don't see you on the pod for a week or two. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but...
Anyway, lads, we're going to jump straight into it because it's the final round before a little bit of a break. So, Watford Norwich, the game that I basically said would be a 4 draw, nobody would want to watch, turned out to be, well, was it a cracker? 3-0, but it was 0 at half time. Those 3 goals, I don't know. Watford have sacked Claudio Ranieri as well. Tony, give us your thoughts on the game and the sacking and everything Norwich Watford related.
I've flipped my opinion on these two teams now. Watford offer nothing in defence, nothing in midfield, nothing in attack because they sacked Ranieri. So I want them to go down, and Watford, I hope they never come back up, and Norwich can survive. I'm happy for them to switch places.
No, sure.
Before we get into the game, real quickly, imagine the scenes if Rafa Benitez took over Watford and they stay up and Everton go down. How would Everton fans feel? It's not going to happen. Tony, so give us your thoughts on the game then. Look, 3-0, does it flatter Norwich, or what? I mean, that Josh Sargent first goal, scorpion kick almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it was one of those games where one team takes their chances, the other team doesn't take their chances. On another day, it's a completely different scoreline. I said that neither team would be able to defend for 90 minutes, and I was half right. Watford couldn't defend for 90 minutes, but I mean, fair play to Norwich, fair play to Dean Smith. He's got them now out of that. Are they still out of the relegation after the end of that? Did they stay above
Newcastle have a game in hand, Watford a game in hand, and Burnley 4 games in hand, but still, they're out.
So at this stage of the season, you'd rather have points on the board than games in hand. So,
absolutely,
yeah, fair play to Norwich. You're out of the relegation, but I'm still pissed off at Watford for sacking Ranieri. So that's as much as I'm going to say about that.
Morty, thoughts? Can Norwich stay up now at this point? Like, is Watford now the ones that are doomed, or
no? That Norwich performance is the best we're going to see of Norwich this season, and that was against Watford. So they can't take too much away from that game. It wasn't a cracker. It was just an absolute thing. I mean, an American coming in scoring his first goal like that'll never happen again. And I mean, in Watford's, I guess on the bright side for Watford, yes, they've sacked their coach, but they do have somewhere to improve. Like they're missing the cycling GK and goals still. They're missing Dennis. He's away at AFCON. Like they've still got other players that could do. Like Dennis
played this game and got sent off. He got sent off.
No, it was Bonaventura.
Emmanuel Bonaventura.
Oh no, sorry, that's his actual name. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. Either way,
come on, Chris, don't do me like that.
Yeah. Look, a bit of an error there. But
speaking of them missing players, they are missing Ismail Assar, who I think on his day is a fantastic player. Yeah. Like you said, they're missing this big cycling GK and goals, and their starting centre back, can't remember his name. He's playing for Nigeria, who just got knocked out of AFCON. So he'll be back. But again, with them, were they doing much as well? No. So where to for Watford? They've sacked probably one of their more recognisable managers. Apparently, it's rumoured that Roy Hodgson will take over by the time this goes out. I mean, when you're watching this, it could be a done deal. Is he the man to keep them up? I mean, I don't know. What do you reckon, Morty? Do you reckon they stay up?
Look, we all know points in hand is better than game in hand, but again, they win their next game, they're back out of the relegation zone. Like it's a bit rough because we can sit here and say it's whatever it is, but this is the same things happened last year to Villa, for example. Time and place for the games. I mean, Burnley, they've got all these games in hand now, but they're going to be playing back to back to back to back, and I mean, they're selling players. They sold their other striker. Their other one's injured half the time now. So, God help them. A few draws is not going to get them out of relegation. So,
yeah, well, you speak about the games in hand. One of those games in hand is Burnley versus Watford. It's the only game in the next 2 weeks of Premier League football. So, we're not going to cover that just by itself. But we're not
because bother covering it.
Burnley bottom of the table. Again, Watford, that's one of their games in hand over Norwich. They have 2. So, yeah, I mean,
Come on,
I suppose,
Burnley. Come on,
you say they're in
Burnley.
the driver's seat to stay up? No. I don't think any of those bottom – I'll throw Everton in the mix as well. I don't think any of those bottom 5 or 6 are in the driver's seat to stay up. They're all just hoping other results go their way. But, look, if Roy Hodgkin can be the man to turn Watford around, that's impressive because they sack managers left, right and centre. They've had 12 in the past 15 years or 15 in the past 12 years, I think it is, sorry. So, I don't know. At this point, Tony, like you said, you want Watford to go down just because the way they treat like their managers. Like Ranieri is a Premier League icon. Like won the Prem with Leicester. He's done bits, but I don't know. Watford.
The transfer window.
Yeah, I mean exactly. You sack him before the end of the transfer window, and I don't think they've really brought in anybody. So maybe it's
unfair. Second before the transfer. His best 2 players are at AFCON. What do you want the guy to do? Like, what's he expected to do? Win a game with reserve players?
And all their wins have come from him. Yeah, yes, he's only won 3 out of the last 14. They've only won 4 games this season.
Yeah, I mean that's
he's done more than anything else.
And I suppose you look at Norwich, for example. I know Dean Smith's been there a little less, but like he's already won. What did he win all 4 of their games for Norwich so far? Dean Smith has come in, I think so. So
no, Norwich won their last game. Was it interim? They won that. They won the week that he was either sacked or sacked him.
Like, yeah, you give the manager time, and maybe Ranieri has had a bit more time, 3.5 months, I believe. But I don't know. It's an interesting one, but full credit to Norwich really to take their chance. If they stay up now, I mean they're out of the relegation zone. If they stay up now,
they're still going down. They're forever.
We don't know. We've written them off. We all said that they're going to break the points record for lowest amount, and they've now. I mean they've got 5 more points now than Derby did, and they've still got 20 games to play, 15 games to play.
Doesn't matter. They're still going down. We're not entertaining the idea that they're not.
All right. Well, speaking of going down, can we get into this team? Everton's 1-0 loss to Villa. Thanks for that segue, Morty. We're going to start with you then. Everton going down.
Is this the biggest shithouse Liverpool have ever pulled off against Everton? To sign their left back, who's done nothing all season, to come back and get an assist against your old club. But he hasn't. Oh, what an absolute madness. Everton, nothing more glorious. That's all I'll say. Everton, they were shambles.
They're starting to get back to their full strength side, and they're still not scoring goals. Like Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin up top together. Calvert-Lewin had a great chance, I believe. What's going on there? Duncan Ferguson's at the helm now. I don't know, Tony. What are your thoughts? Like, surely they're not going down. I don't want to speak too much about like teams just going down because there's still plenty of games to play. But what's this result mean for Everton? It's a great win for Villa. Keep in mind away from home. But yeah, what's your thoughts?
It obviously means the pressure is now on Everton. They are in that relegation scrap. You look at that bottom 5 and you put Everton in there because of how many points they are, but you put them as probably the favourites to stay up based on what club they are, what players they have. You can talk all you want about having a full strength attack, not scoring goals, but again, I put it down to another day. This is another result. Everton had double the shots. It was just that every time they had a shot, it felt like when we play pro clubs on FIFA, someone got a leg in the way, someone got a chest in the way. It was just a shot went in, it got blocked. A shot got in, it got blocked. And then, to cop an assist, 2 days after you sell your left back, he pulls an assist against you. It's just...
I think it's his only assist at Goodison Park, and it came against them. So...
yeah, so it's a bit of a kick in the guts, obviously. The fans throwing stuff onto the pitch, that kind of marred the whole, celebration a little bit. But, fair play to Villa, fair play to Gerrard, moving in the right direction and still linked to a few very decent players before the end of this window.
Absolutely. Gerrard's doing bits there. I don't know if it is a case of you just trust a manager. Like he's gone away. He's kind of done it the hard way, hasn't he? Like he's gone to the Scottish Premier League, and he's done it with Rangers. He comes back and now he's given the good shot with Villa, and it's good to see. Like I said, like he's brought in Luca Digne, Coutinho. That's a massive coup for a club like Villa, really. So he's doing great things there, and it's good to see. But yeah, who knows how their season will pan out? They're still probably too far behind the top 6, 7 to get European football. But I think to finish just outside that from here on in would be a really good result and something that Stevie G could build on for next season. All right, I think this result we all picked, did we? Wolves 2-1 win over Brentford. We all kind of, I suppose, made fun of Brentford's Thomas Frank last week, with the result against United, saying how much we dominated them and all that. And I think, Tony, did you correctly predict? I'm pretty sure I said 2-1 as well. Doesn't matter how well you play, I suppose. If the other team takes their chances, they win the game. So Wolves 2-1. What were your thoughts, Tony, on this one?
You know what made me even happier than Wolves winning this game? The coach getting sent off. After his big comments last week about how well they played against United, maybe that will shut him up for a week, getting sent from the pitch in the 98th minute. So, again, fair play to Wolves. They have been playing better football. They are starting to put those goals that we said, in the first 5-6 rounds, if they started to put these goals away, they're going to start climbing that ladder. And it's what they're doing now. Traore almost got another goal, obviously, off the bench. It was ruled to be offside, but
don't ask too much of them. One's enough for the season.
When you're that quick, you're bound to be offside every now and again. It's hard for him to stay onside, but yeah, it's pretty much how the game I thought would go. It'd be a bit of a stalemate for most parts of the game, but Wolves took their chance and happy days, and the coach can sit in the sideline and think about how his team dominates next time.
I mean, that's a fourth loss in a row for Brentford. So, yeah, it's not good enough, really. They should be doing better at home, I believe. Wolves, on the other hand, it's a weird one. 19 goals, that's what all have scored this year, only conceded 16. So that's defensively very solid. It's the second best in the league. But 19 goals for, it's not great in 21 games, is it? But, look, they're unbeaten in, I can see 5. It's probably more. Are they a dark horse to get European football? They're on 34 points, fourth spot's only on 38, and they've got a game in hand on United. Morty, what do you reckon? Do you reckon they're a shout for it? I mean, they're probably in better form than, say, an Arsenal who's a bit hot and cold right now.
Well, I'll jump in there before Morty starts. If you go to the last 15 games, Wolves would be sitting third on form. So it'd be City, Liverpool, and Wolves.
Getting some top form, yeah.
I'll just note that the sort of football that Wolves are playing, yes, it's going to get them points, and yes, it might get them wins, but they can't be playing like that in the last 10 games of the season, because teams aren't going to be caring if they lose to that team. They'll put more and more pressure on them, and like we saw time and time before, like Wolves would then suffer that last-minute equaliser or last-minute winner against them, and then it's going to happen more and more. So I don't know whether they're going to be able to push for that European football if they're not scoring as consistently. Defensively, but they need to start getting some goals.
So you think like a relegation bound Newcastle, Watford, Burnley, any of those teams later in the season when they're really dying for points, honestly, they should be able to score against a Wolves who have got the second best defence?
At the moment, that coach, the manager can walk into that club and go, we're going for this today. If we jag a goal, we are getting points. But then, if I walk into the shed and my manager's telling me that with 5 games to go, what's the point of playing football? I don't think that sort of attitude works when, yes, they are inside of playing European football. Why would they not be wanting to push for the win that game? So, but I mean, take nothing away. Wolves, Martino, Jared, our ex former podcast host, calling me out for he's absolutely class. He scores this one. Couldn't score against Southampton, but does everything else. Apparently I don't watch all the... Yeah, shut up. Take that, cop that up your ass, and we'll continue on. Move on to the actual relegation-bound team.
Well, before that...
There's your segue, Aaron.
Well, I want to really quick mention before that, Ruben Neves scoring again. Tony, United could do with him crazily, couldn't they? He's unbelievable. I don't know why he still is at Wolves, because he's been doing it for seasons now, has he not? Would you take him at United? Simple answer.
You take him, but it's the same thing. You're not going to go. A player of that quality during the middle of the season is not going to go to another Premier League club, especially someone above you or around you, which it is at the moment. I'd take him at the end of the season, but I don't see it happening. I don't see him or Wolves, why he's got time on his contract, releasing him to another Premier League team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely one that's going to happen in the summer. Not now, unfortunately, I suppose, for United and anybody who's after him, because he's a quality player. But yeah, Wolves are doing well. Let's move on. Leeds United, when they started to hit a little bit of form, a couple of wins in a row, they go and lose to Newcastle, of all teams. Morty, we'll jump back to you. Thoughts on this one? Newcastle with a massive win here, second of the season.
I think this is probably the start of the turnaround for him. We all knew it was inevitably coming, and they have been shocking. And I'm not going to say that they weren't still shocking in this game, but they showed that they wanted it more this game, and they're starting to. I think the players are starting to realise that, oh no, if we don't turn something around, we're going to be playing the championship next year, and that'll be the laughing stock basically. So
I mean, I wish we had Campo here, because the only person that he hates, one of those people he hates the most, John Joe Shelby, did score the winner and the only goal in the game. So it would have been funny to get his reaction. But yeah, like you said, I think it is the start of the turnaround. I think before the next Premier League round, which is obviously a little while away, they'll have a few more signings in this. They're already hunting, I think, Sevilla's Diego Carlos, who I think is wanting the move. They're going to have, I think, 3 different players come the start of the next round, I suppose. Tony, what do you reckon? It's a big win for them.
It's a big win, but it was pretty piss poor from both teams, if I'm being completely honest. It was almost take away how many shots were taken from both teams, because I think they had about 12 to 13 each, but in the end, they won a game with what you could almost call a snatch and grab. They had 37% possession. Shelby scores a goal. It's turning into the next Harry Potter scene. He's coming for you. So Voldemort gets the goal, gets the 3 points. It's a big 3 points, so you can't take that away from Newcastle. But it's just the only thing that makes me happy that Newcastle finally won a game again is that it was against Leeds and Leeds dropped points. So little Benny Cartwright was chatting a bit of smack last week when they beat West Ham. So this will kind of pitch him down a little bit. And I would have hoped they both lose, but one did, and I'll take it.
What do you think? Do you think they're going to have a few new signings come the end of the window and before the next Premier League fixture?
It's an interesting one, obviously. Yeah, obviously they do need to strengthen that squad. They do, obviously. Well, they have the funds, let's be honest. And I think the owners can see that there's been a few wins, so why not give them another 100, 150 million, stay up? In the end, it's pocket change for them, and if they stay up, then they're probably going to make that back in TV revenue and rights next year. So I don't know. It is Newcastle. If I was them, I'd just be signing the 4 best defenders and call it a day. We'll just draw out the season. It's enough points to survive, but I don't know. We'll be interested to see who wants to come across with a coach that probably isn't going to be there in 2 years' time. So you're doing a rebuild. You come in to play for a coach that you could have someone that doesn't like you in 2 years' time.
Yeah. I think it's fun. I think they'll bring in some signings, but I can't see them going and finishing. Look, what, 11 points off top half. I can't see them doing that. I think it's still just going to be a slugfest the rest of the season. But those signings will be enough to get them over the line. I could see Chris Wood scoring 6 or 7 from here to the end of the season, possibly. Maybe even 5 will be enough, just vital goals. So yeah, I think it's going to be enough for them. But yeah, it's a good win for them. Leeds, not as much because it's at home. They should be probably doing better here against the Newcastle team who are in the relegation zone, really. But let's move forward. Tony, you're going to kick us off. It's United 1 over West Ham 0. Thoughts on the game? Big win for you guys. Rashford was 93rd minute winner.
Yeah, obviously we sit here week in, week out, and we say there's no passion. They're not playing for the coach. They're not fighting. And then you see that passion from, if you close your eyes in the lead up to that goal, you'd think Cavani scored the goal, how he celebrated. You wouldn't think that it was Rashford. He tapped in at the back post. But that's what the good teams do. This was a game that we had to win if we wanted to stay in touch with the top 4. And it might not have been pretty the whole game, but we dug in. We got the clean sheet. As much as I hate to say it, Maguire held that centre-back partnership together, and Varane looked a bit like Maguire for most of that game. But we got the result. McTominay was great again. Rashford, I think I said last week, once he got his first goal, this could be something that kicks him on now. He tends to do that. He gets a goal, and he runs with it with form. So happy days. Obviously, Martial did turn and play the ball to Cavani. He's now gone. That's got announced today that he's going to Sevilla. So pretty interesting that you don't play for 8 weeks. You play one game and then you go on the next day. So For me, I'll take it. If Campbell's on, he'd probably still be trying to fight that it was offside, but we've all seen the images. It was onside. The angle wasn't the prettiest. I kind of had a nervous 2-3 minutes when it did go upstairs, but all in all, it's a big win for that top 4 race, and it probably keeps us in the hunt.
Yeah, it's a massive win against a team that I suppose it would have been so easy to drop points against, given the way you guys have gone back and forth this season. So yeah, massive win. Good to see Rashford, I suppose, getting the score sheet again. I think you're right. He will start to get a bit of a run of form now. I think his confidence is probably coming back up a bit. Again, the passion from the United, I suppose, team was really important to see at this stage of the season, and see that I suppose the fight they have in them to go and win the game. And then like you said, the celebrations were mental. Have you seen? I'm sure you've probably seen the pitch side footage of it where.
Did you see? Have you seen McTominay? Have you seen McTominay's lovely jump where he goes over the top?
Yes, it's just some absolute scenes. So winning in the 93rd, it's a massive win, pushes into 4th, and you've got a couple of games in hand, so you can actually catch Chelsea in 3rd just about. So big win.
Obviously there are teams. There's teams around us. Tottenham, Arsenal do have, or Tottenham definitely have games in hand.
They have to play each other, so one of those catch
exactly. Games. But again, points on the board. I'll take it at this time of the season.
Absolutely. I mean, again, you have a couple of games in hand yourself, so it's not as though So 4th spot for you guys. You've overtaken West Ham now. It's looking good. Morty, what were your thoughts on the game?
Well, to be honest, I thought it was going to end 0-0. I mean, other than that last minute, they're kind of looking everyone just looking flat. They weren't looking like they're making that chance. They'll get into the 18-yard box and just trying to have something, and they weren't working anything out. But eventually it came. I think I would have liked to have seen the VAR screen shown live, because they didn't show it till after the game, and everyone was kind of blowing up from the beginning. Like, obviously, we sat here all last season, the year season before, sulking about it, and I'm happy with it because it wasn't offside. But I think the game was paused anyway. They were doing their check. Why couldn't they just show that one screen and get on with it in the game, because it's already live currently? So that was my only thing. But well done to United, ran 4th. Will they stay there? Don't know, but it's better than what they've been playing, so we'll give them that.
All right, and it's a clean sheet.
Big clean sheet.
Somehow.
Moving on. Look, this game now coming up, I did slate Southampton stuff. I did say that City would go on trapping 4-0. I did then correct myself and say that if Southampton score early, it'll make it hard for City. They did score early, and it made it very hard for City. Southampton were great. Tony, you were the one that did say this is going to be a very close game from the get-go. So give us your thoughts on the game. Southampton against City, impressive this season. Against a lot of the bigger teams, impressive. And they're steadying their season a little bit now.
I mean, when I said it was for 2 reasons. One was out of spite because everyone else was saying they were going to get smashed. And the second one, honestly, it was just they seem to have found that formula against these bigger teams where it's not the prettiest football. They don't have possession by any means. I think they had less than 30% in this game. So
25, yep.
Yeah, there you go. So it's not that they have the possession, but they've just learnt how to cut those angles. So, I mean, if I'm at Southampton, full credit to whoever's put together that scouting plan, because they've done it twice against Man City and they've walked away with 2 points. They did it against United. They walked away with a point. So whoever's doing that deserves a raise, because these are points that teams like Southampton probably already had marked down as a loss at the start of the season if they're going through their calendar. So to walk away with 2 points against Manchester City, against Pep, who arguably will go down as one of the best managers in the Premier League history, massive respect to Southampton. They did the job and they kept it close how I thought they would. And whether they deserve a point or not based on how it went, they got the point. And I think a team like Southampton could be a season turning around moment.
I think this is one of those results that you just full credit to, like you said, to the manager, to the club, more so than the players obviously on the pitch as well. But I mean, they're lucky to have a manager like Ralph, who I think is fantastic. We all know Gibbo adores the bloke, but he is a great manager. And I think there's been plenty of times they probably could have sacked him. I mean, they've lost 9-0, twice under his helm. So he could have been out the door plenty of times. And so for them to stick with him, it shows what a team like Watford doesn't do. You don't give a manager a chance sometimes when it's not going well, and then it doesn't get fixed. So Southampton, they've got a great manager, and they are slowly moving back up to where they were for 1 or 2 seasons under Poch. So yeah, massive result for them. It's one of those ones where you take it. It feels like a win, even though it is sucks that City go and score somewhat of a late equaliser. But does it mean much, Morty, for City's title? I suppose that we all said's wrapped up. Look, you guys with your game in hand, if you win, only 6 points behind. Give us your thoughts.
Well, before we get into this, I shockingly a bit of praise to Southampton. I think they got their tactics pretty well right this game. They didn't have the possession, but they didn't just play the Burnley long ball up to one striker. They were playing the Burnley long ball up to about 5 strikers, and they were all over them at the back.
They take their chances. They play the football that I personally look at, and I think, why didn't Chelsea play that way against City? We obviously have a better squad than Southampton. Why are we parking the bus when Southampton was taking it to them? Yeah,
well, and my other point is, Cancelo, everyone, but no one bats an eyelid about his defending. But if that was Trent, Trent's getting absolutely slated in the media 24/7 for his defending. Cancelo's not that much better, and he's just on the other side of the park. I mean, Walker saved him a few times. He just uses his pace. I'm not going to say his positioning's any better, but Cancelo, he was caught out a few times. I'm not going to say he's responsible for the goal or anything, but he was caught out. Yeah, I was touched annoyed at that one, because if that was Trent, we'd be all over him. But I think it probably is quite key for City. I mean, I'm not going to say the pressure's on, like we're still 9 points behind, but if things go away for the next 5 weeks, we win our game in hand, and we manage to win our game against them, it puts them, puts us 1 win away, and the pressure's back on City, because we'll be back in Champions League, and City are the ones that haven't won it. That's the one that everyone's asking for. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. We'll see how it goes. However, City are not also in the other cup, but I don't know. I can't sit here and say the pressure's on, because they're still 9 points ahead. Whatever thing, everyone can slip up from then. Just as likely as Liverpool can have a draw and it's back to the square dot. So,
I can't believe your choice of word then was slip. I can't believe you just chucked that in there.
Oh, mate, it's been about 10 years, all right? Let us move on. United.
Can I just say
10 years since United win something. Just go on.
Can I just say, we talk about the Champions League and how City probably will put focus into that. I think the next round that we're coming up to is more crucial for Liverpool. Obviously, they do have Inter. City do have Sporting. So, I reckon City's reserves could put a result against Sporting. So, it could, like Morty said. I'm not going against what you said. I'm just saying that next game, it could see that Liverpool have to rest players in the league if they do want to go ahead against an Inter 2 days later, and City could find themselves another 12 points. So pressure's on, but it all goes down to what the distance is when they meet. When they meet next, that's going to be the deciding factor.
Well, it's about 7 games away. I'm just talking more about toward the end. Like, I know City will walk through the next round, but then it's the round after that. Are they going to put their focus into that?
You could have Madrid, PSG, Liverpool, and City left, and I'll probably still try and draw Accrington Stanley from League One. Like, that's just what they do when they go for champions. Like, they seem to always get the good draw.
Well, they're not into that sort of podcast here. We're not going to start getting defamation cases. But
look, I think that if Liverpool can continue to put the pressure on them and make it hard for City and continue to pick up results, they've done it now that Salah and Mane have been out. They haven't. They're not going to. It doesn't look like they're going to be, I suppose, hurt by the AFCON, because they've got a couple of weeks now. Fabinho stepping up 4 in 5 games or something for him currently. So Liverpool, yes, they're doing everything right currently. They're back into second above Chelsea. They've got 1 game in hand over City. So yes, you win that, 6 points behind. You continue to put the pressure on. If they fail to get a good result before you guys, I think it's game on. But if you guys, slip up, I suppose we'll say, but I don't think it is, because you're not currently top. Then it is still Cities to go with. But it's going to
even predicted top 4, so I'll leave it at that.
Sorry,
we weren't even predicted top 4.
Okay, I definitely. Who was predicted top 4? Yeah, it was definitely between City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United, I think it was always going to be that top 4. I couldn't see Spurs.
There were some of them putting us into 5th. I'll go back and find them.
Just because Campo is sour and doesn't put you in the top 4 does not mean you're not going to make the top 4.
I take him
Campo is irrelevant.
We have to get into his game after, and he wants his talking
all right.
Well, I'm going to laugh in his face.
I mean, I like to use words that you guys use as a segue. You spoke about irrelevant. You spoke about irrelevant. It's Arsenal 0-0 draw with Burnley. I mean,
we haven't even gone the Liverpool game.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I'll have to use that as a segue, but if you want to use the word irrelevant, let's go into Liverpool. Sorry, because we're talking about Liverpool, I thought we were on the game. Morty, thoughts on the game? Big win. Not a massive win, but you needed to.
The first 30 minutes were on fire, and I think we fell asleep a bit. We could have quite easily drawn this game, but Alisson saved our ass more times than I can count. But, yeah, I mean, Campo, he's asked to bring it up. The 89th minute penalty. I'd like to take him back to.
Was it a penalty? Was that a penalty?
Yeah. I'd like to take him. I'd like to let him go back to, I think it's 2016. Liverpool versus Spurs. Kane penalty. Exact same thing happened. Kane puts the ball past the keeper. Keeper takes him out. Same situation. I'm not happy either way. I don't think either of them should have been a penalty, but take it as you will. That's what it's been called as always. Every striker's doing it. So unless they change that rule, then it's going to be a penalty. So we'll leave it be.
Tony, thoughts on this game? Liverpool again getting it done without their AFCON stars. Could have been.
It could have been a different story. And I can sit here and give Morty shit. I can say it's not a penalty, but in the whole of a game at the time it was given, I don't think it makes much of a difference. If anything, it just gives Crystal Palace the excuse to say we're robbed. And I mean, if that was United, I'd be using the exact same excuse. Let's be honest. I'd be like, oh yeah, we're going to score a 90th minute winner, equaliser. It definitely was going to happen, but we got robbed. But I mean, yeah, another good result for Liverpool, given they don't have Salah, they didn't have Mane, they didn't have all their AFCON players. But now that we're on this game, and I was going to bring it up earlier, but I was waiting for this game. Surely the AFCON is the most disrespected competition. Like, it goes for a month and then it finishes and we go, okay, let's take an international break. Like, surely that is some disrespect to the AFCON.
I mean, you're spot on. Why the planning of it's wrong. Why would they not have scheduled it for, I suppose, the 2 weeks or whatever that we do have an international break? But I mean, if you see some of the officiating and all the stuff going on at AFCON, like what was it, Marley's game blowing whistle 5 times 5 minutes before. I mean, you're spot on, mate. It is disrespectful. It is a major international tournament at the end of the day, and for it to be, I suppose, in season, it's harsh. Let alone be when there's an international break straight afterwards, makes no sense.
Yeah, like if we'll stick to the game because we can get very off topic with this because it is a massive talking point. But yeah, good win for Liverpool. Alisson, brilliant, showing why he is one of those best keepers in the league. He's always up there, if not the world. We always say, we look at when we talk about United and say De Gea saves them points. Well, this result here and how Alisson played puts pressure on that title race. And if he can keep doing that, then it's going to be an interesting end to the season.
All right, we're going to move forward. We're going to have to get through the snappy end of it. Arsenal 0-0 with Burnley. 20 shots, no goals. Are they going to sign a striker? It looks as though Juve's going to snatch their striker they were looking at. Tony, real quick, thoughts on the game against last place Burnley? Not good enough for Arsenal, who are chasing top 4. And are they going to sign a striker?
I mean, I will say 4-0 every week as a bold prediction if it means Arsenal drops points and we get points. So for me, this is a good result for United. Shocking result for Arsenal. Again, not what they need, but a great result for Burnley. It's another point, which who knows how crucial that can be at the end of the season. They could win 1 or 2 games. They've got catch-up games, and this could be a point that gets them safe. But for Arsenal, I mean, I don't see him signing a striker. They put so much focus into, I'm not going to pronounce his last name, but Dusan. They put so much...
Vlahovic.
That one. They put so much effort into him that it's almost as if they haven't been linked to another striker. So
apparently they're now looking at Alexander Isak, the Sweden from Real Sociedad. So if they can get him, good sign because he's a great player. But again, I think they've put too much emphasis on one player and not enough in the whole market as well. But so we'll see.
I mean, I think Lacazette leads the line for the rest of the year. I think they will get a striker at the end of the year, but I think it's what they've got, and I think they've still got enough quality with Lacazette. I don't know what's going on with Aubameyang. Has he just been frozen out? I think
he's going to be gone. I can't see him playing for him if not. Yeah.
So I'm going to go Lacazette leads the line. I think because they didn't go out and sign a striker, Arsenal finished just outside that Champions League football.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. I can't see them getting Champions League. I think 5th, yes, above West Ham possibly, but definitely not Champions League football. Morty, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think the target shouldn't be Champions League football at the moment either with the squad. They've got a lot of young players. Europa probably would be a better fit for them anyway, give them more game time, let them experience more of Europe. I think probably more, again, we talked about the owners. I don't think the owners are going to let Arsenal sign anyone with Aubameyang still on the books. If they got rid of him, they might have chased Vlahovic a bit harder, but I mean, could you justify going to your bosses asking for more money when the bloke that they're paying £400,000 a week is not performing? I'd tell you to turn around.
Let's be honest, it's Arsenal. They're not going to beat a $70 million bid from Juventus. Like, that's not how their owners operate. They might have gone in and said $70 million and $1, but
we don't know what's going on with Vlahovic because apparently he was keen on the move and all of a sudden he's saying he wants to stay put to the end of the season and then he wants to move. So it's like, if you're Arsenal, do you say, oh, okay, mate, no worries, we'll see you at the end of the season, or do you say, no, we want you now? Like, why are you staying? But then again, Juve's now coming from, if he goes to Juve, it's a kick in the teeth for Arsenal, who apparently will go to the end of the season.
I would say within the next 48 to 72 hours, it's a done deal, if not earlier. All the reports coming out, obviously, of Italy is it's done.
Yeah, to you.
Fabrizio, Fabrizio has said that he hasn't said it's here we go, but he has said that there is big talks going on, and it's looking like I think it was 70 million, and then he gets like 7.5 million euros or whatever it is a year or something like that, something crazy like that. So it's a massive upgrade for his contract, and I don't get. It's another Bayern Dortmund. Like, someone produces a talent and they go to Juventus. Like, you don't see it in the Premier League, and it just confuses me how it happens that many times in other leagues.
Oh, I'll tell you who Arsenal could use, and this is the segue for you. Danny Welbeck. He scored again, rescued a point. They had him once before. Could they use him again? I mean, Brighton keep getting these late equalisers. I mean, 82nd minute now. It's not as late, but what's going on at Brighton? They're finally getting a few points on the board. They've 4 draws in the last 5, but if you look at all the times scored, they're all definitely 80 plus. It's a good result against Leicester, is it not, Morty?
I'm convinced EA Sports pay them just to only score in the last 10 minutes to make sure that the game is not considered as scripting because it happens in real life. But if all of you are still out there playing FIFA, it's exactly how FIFA games go. You're up 1-0, you dominate the whole game, and your opponent scores the last 10 minutes just out of spite. Yeah, I mean, Leicester, I don't know. They're not kicking on. They're not doing what they need to be doing, and Brighton somehow still scrap something out of nothing. It's basically a dead heat match at this point. None of these teams are playing for anything of note. They're all middle pack now. Yeah, bit of dead rubber.
So I mean, we can't call it dead rubber at this edge of the season, but look, it is Brighton above Leicester into 9th. So if Brighton go and get a top half finish, that's a great finish for them this season. Graham Potter, will he be scouted to go elsewhere, or will he want to stay put? Great manager, again, doing bits, turning their expected goals into goals. And yeah, Tony, what are your thoughts on this one?
I'm going to give you some interesting fact here about Brighton. In their last 17 games, they've only lost 4 games. But in saying that, they've only won 3 games. So that's where the issue is. They've had a ton of draws. They can't seem to put teams away or they equalise late. That I was just looking at that. Like, it shocked me. I don't know if I changed my face reaction when I was looking at it. Like, they've only lost to, obviously, 1-0 to Wolves, 2-0 to Villa, and 4-1 to Man City. And before that, their last loss came against Everton, and that was like, here we go, let's just load in now. That was way back on the 29th of August. So they're not losing a lot of games. They just can't seem to bury teams or, like, look at that. I'll use Chelsea as an example. Both games they've played against you, arguably, they probably deserve more than the points they got. They probably deserve to win both those games. they didn't, and they'll do enough to survive, but there's not a lot of improvement they need. They just need to start taking advantage of the games they should win.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the goals for and against 23 and 23. They're sitting on a flat goal difference. It's good. Like they're doing things right defensively, but they do need to score more goals. They need to kill off teams. They need to start turning these 1-1 draws that are finishing in 80 plus minutes into wins that they're scoring. It's a good season for Brighton though. You can't take anything away from them. They're getting better. 12 draws for a season so far. It's a lot, but they're sitting in 9th. Can they complain too much? I mean, it's a great season for them. So we're going to get into the final game of the round, the Battle of the Bridge. Campo's not here to defend his boys, but he probably wouldn't anyway. Chelsea 2 over Spurs 0. Tony, I just want to ask you firstly about this game. Thoughts on the Harry Kane goal, disallowed goal? Is it fair? Should he have been awarded that? Before I give my answer, what do you think? And Morty, again, what do you think?
No, I mean, I agree with it. It obviously, depending on what side of the fence you are on, you're going to have a different answer here. But as a neutral, I was okay with it not going in. We've seen similar things happen before, and it goes based on does VAR get involved? What does the ref call? And it's a call that you're just going to have to live with. And I believe that as much as you don't want to admit it, these calls even themselves up if there are close calls come the end of the season.
Yep. Morty, thoughts on that one?
Exactly, evening it up. I've seen Kane go down with much less contact. So what goes around comes around. Cop it, Campo. You weren't winning either way, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that going, I was thinking, oh god, here we go again. Like we've been absolutely all over them. They haven't showed up at all, and then bam, they score. But I think that just shows it's a dumb foul. Like why? There's no need to push him there. And yes, it's very, very soft. I can admit that. But Thiago Silva, that's game awareness. That's his age. It's his experience. He knows that if he goes down there and makes it look obvious, he's given the referee no chance but to overrule it. I mean, he did give it a goal, and then VAR, bailed us out there. But from start to finish the game, we were all over him. We deserved the win. Hakim Ziyech, who has not been performing well, he's now got 2 in his last 2. Absolute scream with this game. Thiago Silva, who could have been, on the other end of it, goes and scores. So 37 years old. He's the oldest scoring in Premier League history now, I believe, or for this season. I mean, it's just Chelsea against Spurs. It's 3 points for us. It's always 3 points. Four games we've played in this season, 4 wins. Spurs, I suppose, it's just, I don't know. They should be doing more here. They should be really going at us. But regardless of how good we were this game, again, it's Spurs, so I don't know how much I look into it. We needed the win, but we're still in a bit of a hot water situation ourselves. Morty, I'm going to come back to you. What were your thoughts on the game as a whole then, besides that?
This was just like watching Chelsea play City as Tottenham is to Chelsea. Like they showed up to the game expecting to play one way, and they're just getting dominated. It's like they accepted the fact that this was going to happen. Like, I don't know what was going through their heads. I mean, Conte, back against Chelsea, I would have been doing anything to take that win away from him. But it just didn't look like they wanted it that much. And I'd argue that Son is worth more to Tottenham than Kane is. And I think
not even an argument. It's not even an argument at this stage.
No,
these days.
It would, because there are people that out there that absolutely love him to death.
Okay.
And
Campo's not here, so he's not. He's matter in this opinion. His forwards doesn't matter.
Campo would agree with that statement. I think that Son is probably their most important. You can see when he's missing, why they're not winning games.
Yeah, I don't know why more teams don't come after him. Like, you just never hear anything about Son going here or anywhere. It's always Kane this, Kane that. But
I think he signed a new contract with Spurs just like out of nowhere, just for the sake.
It wasn't even anything else. It's not not nothing, but it wasn't extraordinary. Like, you buy and sign players for backup for more money.
You don't see him asking for Harry Kane money or Aubameyang money, for example.
Yeah.
He's just happy doing what he does. And I mean, I think any team in the top, I mean, every single team in the Premier League he starts for City, starts for Liverpool even, I think, ahead of Mane, potentially ahead of Salah on his day. Like, it's controversial, but that's the reality. He's one of the best players in the Prem.
You could have at least said he'll start over Mane. You didn't have to go to Salah.
I said Mane, but then I said potentially Salah on his day, for example. Not every day. Obviously, Salah's unbelievable.
I don't think so, but I know what you mean.
Nah.
You wouldn't be surprised to see Salah have rest and Son be a good replacement for him. I'll take that, but he's not getting replaced.
He's not replacement. Tony, thoughts on the game to close us out before we wrap this up?
Chelsea have Tottenham's number. It's simple as that. Conte obviously can do his best. He knows the system, but that system's changed a lot since Tuchel came in. So fair play to Chelsea. It's another win where if you didn't get these 3 points, it was your top 4 campaign was starting to look a bit shaky. So Good win. I'm not going to say you're in a title race because you aren't going to be in this title race come the end of the season, but it gives you that security now where you're starting to firm your spot in that top 4 and you can start to focus obviously on the Champions League, on the final of is it the Carabao Cup now? Is it still called that?
Yep.
It changes its name that many times. I'm not too sure, but then you can also focus on the FA Cup. So you're still in a lot of competition. So you need to start picking up these points now before these games start coming in thick and fast. So good result. Ziyech, what a goal. Putting it up there. It's at least going to be in the top 5 come the end of the season for goals of the season.
Sure.
But yeah, happy days for Chelsea. And I mean, whoever lost points in this game was a good day for me. It's probably a good time for Morty too. He could either take the piss out of you or take the piss out of Campo. So it was a good day for him too. So yeah, happy days.
Spot on. I mean, like you said there, sorry to keep it going, but yeah, Chelsea, we've got the Club World Cup coming up. We've got lots of games coming up. So much needed result. Just on Spurs, real quick to finish it up. Do you find is it insulting to Spurs that Conte has come out after many games and saying that this squad's just not good enough? Or do you want to see that from a manager? That's basically going to your owner and saying, give me the money I need to make signings. Like he's slating Spurs saying we're light years behind Chelsea, behind the cities, Liverpool's. Like, I mean, as a fan, do you think, he's disrespecting our club? Or do you think, no, this is the manager we actually need to go forward?
Well, I mean, if you take into perspective what Ralph did at United, for me, I'm finally happy that the manager's come in and shown the boards to say to the board, hey, Maguire's not good enough. Wan-Bissaka's not good enough. Luke Shaw's not good enough constantly. And for Spurs, I think that's what you need. You need the honest truth to go in there and go, hey, you're not good enough. If you ever want to win a Premier League, if you want to compete, make the change now. Give me the money. Let me sign my squad.
Yeah, I think what I mean, yes, like it's in the public eye, so it's going to catch attention, but these footballers, they get paid how much money each week. They need to be held accountable, I suppose. Would you agree with that, Morty, before we wrap it up?
Well, yeah. I mean, Conte turned down the job to begin with. He could have been in there from the start, but he didn't want to because he knew that the squad was where it was. And maybe he's been promised something, and in typical Tottenham fashion, they're not getting anyone in because they're not making any summer signings. So, yeah. It'd be interesting to see. Maybe it was more just a spite thing to the owners that, we can't do it, so we need some reinforcements.
All right. Well, that's going to do us for today. We will be back in, a week or two, I think. Maybe we're going to we never do.
But listen, it was a long pod, but if you want to split it up and listen to 25 minutes and then 25 minutes, it'll get you through to get back after the international.
You've got weeks before the next round, so go ahead, give it a listen. Thanks for joining us as usual. We'll see Campo hopefully back in the next one as well. Peace out. We'll see you then.
See you later.